Who loves a passenger train? I certainly do. So I think it's time we had a running session here on Brooklyn Park. Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm a British railroader and welcome to my model railroad room for a kind of special episode where today I'm going to look at some of the passenger trains that I have. Now you may be thinking to yourselves, hang on a minute, Brooklyn Park doesn't have passenger trains. Yes, it's kind of on Long Island and it's not far from the Long Island Railroad and the actual tracks are, I think, are owned by the LIRR. But it's a freight yard, and you'd be absolutely right in thinking that. But I love passenger trains. Now, growing up just outside London meant that I was able to go to one of the best places in the world for watching passenger trains go by. And over the years, I've seen so many. And I just love passenger trains, especially commuter trains. But unfortunately, I don't have the space to model that kind of system. So I settled for the fact that I'm modelling a freight system that runs on tracks owned by a commuter railroad. That doesn't mean that I haven't collected a few bits and pieces that I sometimes put on the layout and let them have a little run. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and have a look and see what I've got.
Okay, so I'm starting with what is possibly the most New York train that I've got. And I'm only putting it here because it's not truly a passenger train. So this is my MTH New York Subway R17 Maintenance of Way train. Let's face it, the subway, everybody thinks of the subway when they think of New York. Now, of course, like I've said in previous videos, this train absolutely wouldn't run on Brooklyn Park because Brooklyn Park doesn't have a third rail, so obviously the train wouldn't be powered. But I think it looks really nice running through the streets, and so I do occasionally get her out and let her ply her trade backwards and forwards whilst there are no freight trains being dropped off in the yard. Maybe one day I might have a layout with a section of third rail track that would justify having this kind of unit, but for the time being it's just something that I personally love to have. Keeping with the New York theme, let's move on to the Long Island Railroad. So what I've got here is an Alco RS1 from Atlas, pulling some of the very, very nice Concord P54 coaches. So the P54 coaches are the locomotive hauled versions of the MP54 multiple units. Now, this is a completely fictional train. As you can see, I've got one grey car with in the Tichy scheme, which is from the kind of about 1950s through to the 60s. The other two cars are in the Pennsylvania Railroad style Tuscan red paint scheme, and that fits them very much in that kind of pre-war period and would probably have been hauled by steam engines. The RS1 itself is in the World's Fair colours, so that's from the later 60s. But I love the Long Island Railroad, and if I ever get the opportunity to get one of the MP54 multiple units, then I definitely will do. But in the meantime, I can just enjoy these wonderful coaches. As you can see, they're working nicely with their flicker-free lighting, as I fitted a little while ago. But yeah, I really like these, and they get an outing on the layout every now and again. Now we're leaving New York and heading over to Chicago. Another great place to go and see trains. Now, a lot of you will know that I am a big fan of the Rock Island Railroad. I probably fell in love with that long before the Long Island. I always loved their rocket passenger trains, but this is not one of those. This is one of their commuter trains that used to go from the South Street station up to Joliet in Illinois. I had been after one of these F7s for a long time, and this was actually my first sound-fitted American loco. I bought it, I managed to find one, they were quite difficult to get hold of, and I had a sound decoder fitted, and the sound decoder just happened to be Soundtracks, and it probably is what got me on to being a lover of their decoders. This is a wonderful engine. The three coaches, the engine, is a Walther's Proto. The three coaches, two of them are from Kato and one is from Walther's Proto. So they don't all quite match, but I think they look really, really good. I've got lighting in some of them, not in all of them, and the cab coach has got some directional lighting, but I do need to work on it because I fitted it back when I wasn't very good at fitting lighting with DCC decoders. But it just makes for something different. Never see it in Long Island, but I love it. Okay, so no sound on this particular video, mainly because I haven't actually fitted sound to this particular locomotive yet. Now, I've grown up seeing Amtrak trains over in America, and I've always been fascinated by them, and I've always been drawn towards them. I have yet to ride on one, but that's going to be happening this year when I go to the States. Sadly though, I'm a little bit late for seeing the F40s on Amtrak. They are actually one of my favourite American passenger locomotives, and I will be doing a video about them quite soon. But I managed to get hold again, it's a Kato F40, and three of the Walther's what they called Amfleet 2 coaches, that's it, in their phase 3 livery. I've got a little bit of work to do with these. I'm not happy with the corridor connections on the coaches, and they need numbering and some handrail can't say the word, handrails fitted. But apart from that, they're not bad. They're not bad. I know that there are new ones out there which are a lot better. But what it's done, it's given me a short and also prototypical and serviceable Amtrak train to run on the layout. But again, you probably wouldn't find it in a little yard in a branch line on Long Island. Oh well. Now, speaking of fantasy, we've got a real mishmash here. So I've got one of the Rapido FL9s, which did run on Long Island, but I've got no coaches to run with it. What I have got is a couple of New Jersey Transit double-decker coaches from Atlas. But, as you can see here, they don't like my layout at all. The curves are just a little bit too sharp for these very long coaches. They need something a little bit smoother. So unfortunately I couldn't give them the kind of run that I was able to give everything else. And strange really, because you know the Kato coaches from the Rock Island and the Walther's Amfleet coaches all negotiated the curves absolutely fine with no problems. But unfortunately these guys didn't like it. But there you go. Now this is absolutely a completely fictional running train. I don't think you ever saw the FL9s with these particular types of coach. But sometimes when you're modelling something a little bit obscure like commuter railroads, you have to kind of just go with whatever you can get. And obviously New Jersey Transit, whilst it doesn't serve Long Island, does serve New York and the greater New York metropolitan area. Anyway, these coaches again need a little bit of work. The lights are flickering, as you can see, so I need to adjust those. But they're nice coaches. They're very, very nice coaches, but sadly not for this layout. They're the kind of thing that sit in a box, and I just get them out every now and again just to have a little look at. So again, no sound for this one, but last but not least is Brooklyn. Now, some of you may be thinking, what the heck is this? Now, we've all heard of Thomas the Tank Engine, but there was a very short-lived children's TV programme over here called Underground Ernie, about the London Underground and the trains. And they would have international trains come and visit. And this guy is Brooklyn from New York City. Brooklyn apparently likes sports, and his voice sounds a little bit like fellow modeller and YouTuber Don Irace. If you go on to YouTube, look up Underground Ernie and see one of the episodes that features Brooklyn, I think you'll agree there is a similarity between the two people. But anyway, I got this because actually I haven't got anywhere to run a Thomas the Tank Engine, and I like something a little bit silly on the layout.
Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into my collection of passenger trains. As I said during the video, they aren't accurate. They aren't the right kind of thing. Will I ever do a proper layout that I can run passenger trains on? Who knows? Maybe one day in the future, especially if I get a little bit more room than my little railroad room. But again, that's it for me for today. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Or if you want to, you can email me direct on this email address just here. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And when you do and the bell comes up, click it and press all, and you'll be notified of all my videos as they are posted. But that's it from me for today. My name's Steve. I'm the British Railroader, and I'm saying goodbye from my model railroad room. Bye-bye.